Uh, Coming to people who are to be leaders and who are starting their life, who are in the in a mid-year life crisis,
Mm,
why do they find it very hard to redesign their life and career?
yeah. I think some of it is, what we laughingly refer to in America as golden handcuffs, right? You get used to a certain lifestyle, you get used to a certain income, you get used to a certain level of prestige. And again, there's a lot, and all of these things are important. Look, you need to, support yourself. And if you have a family, you need to have an income, and your reputation is important. But so often we get so set in having that certain, like I said, that ego boost of, oh, I work at this company, oh, I get this, I make this much money, oh, I have this level of position or whatever it is. And that's why I think it's so hard, because we've told ourselves that who we are, or what our title is, and how much we earn, and where we work, and how much, where we live, and how big our house is. We've told ourselves that that is who we are. And the reality is, of course, none of us is any of those things, right? You are not your job title. You are not your company. You are not your income. Your self-worth as a human being has nothing to do with those things. But we all think that it does. And it's really hard, again, in high achieving cultures and high achieving industries, and as high achieving individuals, it's so hard to separate our sense of self-worth and our value from all of those other things, from, how much we earn, and where we live, and what our title is, and what we can say on our resumes, and all that stuff. So I think that is a really hard thing to change, right? Because all of a sudden it's having to recreate or reassess your relationship with your own identity effectively, right? And that's a big thing. It's not something that, just happens overnight. And for me personally, that happened. I feel somewhat lucky that it happened relatively early in my life, where, when I made that transition from working at the CIA and then going to business school and then starting my own business, all of a sudden I was nobody, right? Before, I was like this cool person who worked at the CIA, and then I was an MBA student at this amazing MBA program, and then I was nobody. I was someone who was starting a business in the middle of nowhere, and nobody had heard of this business because it hadn't had a track record. I was building it, right? And so for me, that was a real part of my experience of like, holy shit, all of a sudden I can't be like, oh, look at me, I'm so cool because I've got this business card that tells me, I've got this position with this amazing company. That was gone. And it was a really difficult internal process to go through of like, oh my gosh, wait, if I'm not a student at a prestigious university, or if I'm not working at a prestigious institution, who the hell am I? And that is a scary question to ask. It's probably the scariest question to ask. And it's not an easy process. So I wish I could say, oh, well, I went through this process, and yeah, after a couple of months, like it goes and fits and starts. And even now it's a work in progress. There are still times where I revert back into making that conflation of, well, how much I earn is how much I'm worth, right? And of course, that's not the reality. So all I would say is it takes practice, but you have to ask the question. Because for me, the reason I went through that painful process is I didn't want to go through that pain at the end of my life, where I look back and think, oh man, I totally screwed this up. Or I was chasing somebody else's dream, or I didn't really tap into the potential that I thought I had, and I was always just doing the safe thing. So again, no value judgment here, right? Both are equally hard, but it's either you feel the pain now, or you feel it later. And I would rather feel it now when I can do something about it and change it, than later in life where it is too late to change.